The weight of fortune. The morning after the mine discovery broke cold and clear, with frost etching delicate patterns across the soddy windows. Sarah woke before dawn in the Thornton homestead, her ribs aching as she shifted on the narrow bed. Through the window, she could see Daniel already outside, moving carefully as he tended to the horses despite Martha's orders to rest. She dressed slowly, her body protesting each movement. The bruising along her side had deepened to purple and yellow, a vivid map of her fall from the horse that seemed like a lifetime ago now. Yet it had been only days that had transformed everything. In the kitchen, Martha was already working, her capable hands kneading bread dough with practiced rhythm. She looked up as Sarah entered, her expression softening. "You should be resting." "I've rested enough." Sarah moved to the window, watching Daniel in the yard. "How is he?" "Stubborn, like someone else I could name." Martha's tone was gentle, teasing. "The wound is healing clean, but he pushes too hard. Wants to be at that mine, standing guard with the others." Sarah turned from the window. "Mrs. Thornton, I need to get back to the homestead. Thomas needs to see that I'm all right, and Mother will understand that you're healing here where there's help." Martha dusted flour from her hands. "Your father rode out at first light with Mr. Whitmore. They're going to Medicine Hat to file the claim and deal with the bank. Your mother stayed at your place with Thomas and Mary Campbell. She sent word you're to rest another day at least." The news settled over Sarah like a weight. Her father, riding to town with all their hopes carried in legal documents and borrowed money. The mine claim fees, the bank payment, everything balanced on the edge of a knife. "How much did they take?" she asked quietly. "The 150 for the claim fees and survey, another 80 for the bank, enough to buy time while Mr. Whitmore fights that hidden lien in court." Martha returned to her dough. "Your father wanted to take more, to pay the bank in full, but Mr. Whitmore advised against it. Said the legal fight over Blackwood's fraudulent claims might take months, and you'll need money for lawyers and living expenses." Sarah moved to the table, lowering herself carefully into a chair. "So we're still in debt to the bank, even with a silver mine on our land." "You're alive," Martha said firmly. "You're together. The rest will sort itself out one way or another." Through the window, Sarah watched Daniel lead a horse toward the barn, his movements careful but determined. "May I ask you something, Mrs. Thornton?" "You may." "When you and Mr. Thornton came west, did you ever think about going back? When things were hard?" Martha was quiet for a long moment, her hands stilling in the dough. "Every winter for the first 5 years," she said finally. "Every time we lost a crop or a calf. Every time I looked at my sons and wondered if I was raising them to fail at something impossible. What changed? I stopped measuring success by Ontario standards." Martha shaped the dough into a loaf. "Back there, success meant a painted house and Sunday china and neighbors who never saw you sweat. Out here, success means surviving the winter, raising boys who know how to work, having neighbors who will ride through a blizzard to help you because they know you'd do the same." Sarah thought of the families who had defended their homestead, who even now were taking turns guarding the mine. "We're sharing the profits," she said. "If there are any. Father and Mother decided, whatever comes from the mine, it gets divided among everyone who helped us." Martha smiled, a warm expression that transformed her weathered face. "That's wisdom. Money changes people, Sarah. I've seen it, but sharing it, that keeps you human." The door opened and Daniel entered, bringing the cold morning air with him. His eyes found Sarah immediately, and something in his expression made her heart quicken. "You're up," he said. "I'm healing. You're stubborn." But he was smiling as he hung his coat. "Mother, I'm riding out to the Mackenzie place. Peter Reed sent word. They need more men for the watch rotation. You're not well enough. I'm well enough to sit on a horse and hold a rifle." Daniel's voice was gentle but firm. "Robert Caine is still out there. Every man counts." Martha looked between her son and Sarah, and something passed across her face, resignation mixed with pride. "Take the Winchester, and if that wound starts bleeding again, I'll come straight back." Daniel turned to Sarah. "Walk with me to the barn?" Outside, the morning air bit cold and clean. The prairie stretched endlessly in all directions, the grass brown and frost-tipped, the sky a pale dome overhead. Sarah walked slowly beside Daniel. conscious of his adjustment to her pace. "You don't have to do this," she said. "Guard our mine. Risk yourself again." "Yes, I do." He stopped at the barn door, turning to face her. "Sarah, when I rode to find that mounted police patrol, when I thought Blackwood might kill your father and your whole family might be destroyed, I realized something." He reached out, his hand finding hers. His palm was warm, despite the cold, calloused from work, steady. "I realized I couldn't imagine this prairie without you on it. Couldn't imagine my life without knowing you were somewhere near, living yours." He paused, his thumb brushing across her knuckles. "I know this isn't the right time. You're hurt. Your family is facing legal battles. Everything is uncertain. But I need you to know, when all this settles, when things are calmer, I'd going to court you properly, with your parents' blessing and time to do things right." Sarah felt tears prick her eyes, not from sadness, but from the weight of something good and pure in the midst of so much struggle. "Daniel, think about whether you could see a future that includes me." She stepped closer, ignoring the protest from her ribs. "I don't need to think about it. I've already seen that future. It's the one I want." His smile was like sunrise, slow and transforming. He lifted her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles with a gentleness that made her breath catch. "Then we'll build it. Together, one day at a time." "One day at a time," she agreed. He saddled his horse while she watched, and she saw him wince when he lifted the saddle, saw the careful way he moved. But she didn't protest again. She understood now what her mother had learned, that sometimes love meant letting someone stand beside you in danger, not behind you in safety. "I'll see you tonight," he said, mounting up. "Your mother sent word she's making supper for everyone who's been helping. Wants the families to eat together, talk about the plans going forward." Sarah nodded, watching as he rode out, his figure growing smaller against the vast prairie. She stood until he was just a speck on the horizon, then turned back to the house. Martha was waiting in the doorway, her expression knowing. "He's a good man?" "Yes," Sarah said. "He is. And you're a good woman, stronger than you know." Martha held the door open. "Come inside. We have bread to bake and a supper to plan. Life goes on, even when everything changes." At the Mackenzie homestead, Eleanor stood in the doorway of the soddy, watching Thomas play near the creek with Mary Campbell's youngest. The boy's laughter carried on the cold air, and Eleanor felt her heart clench. He was so young, so resilient. He'd weathered their absence, the siege, the fear, and now he played as if the world were safe. But the world wasn't safe. Not yet. Mary Campbell emerged from the soddy, wiping her hands on her apron. She was a sturdy woman in her 40s, mother of 6, with the practical competence of someone who'd survived hard years. "The stew's on," she said. "Enough for 20, like you asked, though I still say you're feeding too many mouths for someone who's counting pennies." "These people defended our home," Eleanor said quietly. "Some of them are going without to help us. The least I can do is feed them." Mary nodded, her expression softening. "You're right. I'm sorry. It's just, I worry. Everyone knows about the mine now. Word's spreading. Yesterday, 3 men I'd never seen before rode past our place, asking questions about the Mackenzie claim." Eleanor felt cold that had nothing to do with the weather. "What kind of questions?" "About boundaries. About whether the mine was on your homestead or crown land. About whether your claim was properly filed." Mary glanced toward the creek, checking on the children. "My husband sent them packing, but they'll be back, or others like them. Mr. Whitmore warned us." Eleanor wrapped her arms around herself. "He said once the claim was filed, we'd face legal challenges, people trying to find angles, loopholes, ways to take it from us. And Robert Caine is still out there," Mary said bluntly. "Everyone's watching for him, but he knows this country. Could be anywhere." Eleanor thought of the man who'd tried to kill her daughter, who'd helped Blackwood terrorize them. "The mounted police are looking for him. The mounted police are looking for 100 men across 1,000 miles of prairie." Mary's voice was kind but firm. "You need to be careful, Eleanor. All of you. Money changes things. A silver mine, that's more wealth than most folks around here will see in a lifetime. It makes people desperate, makes them dangerous." The sound of hoofbeats interrupted them. Eleanor tensed, her hand moving instinctively toward the rifle propped inside the door. But it was Samuel Thornton and Johann Schmidt riding in from the mine. Samuel dismounted, his face grave. Eleanor, is James back yet? No. He and Mr. Whitmore went to Medicine Hat to file the claim and pay the bank. They left before dawn. Eleanor studied his expression. What's wrong? Maybe nothing. But Samuel's tone said otherwise. Johann spotted tracks near the second mine shaft. Fresh tracks. Someone was there in the night. Johann nodded, his accent thick. One man, I think. On foot. He came close, very close. Then he left, going east toward the rough country. Eleanor's blood ran cold. Caine? That would be my guess. Samuel glanced toward the children, then back to Eleanor. He knows where it is now, knows what's there, and he knows we're guarding it. What will he do? I don't know. But a man like that, with nothing left to lose. Samuel shook his head. We've doubled the guard, 4 men at all times now, in pairs. Peter Reed is organizing a proper schedule, making sure we've got good shots on every watch. Eleanor thought of her husband, riding toward Medicine Hat with their future in his saddlebags. Thought of Sarah, healing at the Thornton place. Thought of Thomas, playing innocently by the creek. I want Thomas to stay with the Reeds tonight, she said suddenly. Not here. Somewhere safer. Eleanor, please. She met Samuel's eyes. If Caine comes, if there's trouble, I need to know Thomas is away from it. Samuel nodded slowly. Mary Reed will take him. She's good with children, and Peter's place is fortified better than most. But Eleanor, you can't protect him from everything. This is the prairie. Danger is part of life out here. I know. Eleanor's voice was barely a whisper. But I can try. Samuel mounted his horse, Johann doing the same. We'll send word when James gets back, and Eleanor, don't let fear rule you. You've survived this far. You'll survive what comes next. They rode out, heading back toward the mine. Eleanor watched them go, then called to Thomas. He came running, his face bright with cold and play, and she pulled him close, breathing in the little boy's smell of him, dirt and grass and innocence. How would you like to spend tonight with the Reed children? She asked. Can I bring my tin soldiers? You can bring whatever you like. He hugged her tight, then ran back to play. Eleanor stood watching him, Mary Campbell silent beside her. You're doing the right thing, Mary said quietly. Am I? Eleanor's voice cracked. I don't know anymore. I don't know if we're protecting him or teaching him to be afraid. I don't know if fighting for this mine is worth the cost. I don't know. You're doing what mothers do, Mary interrupted gently. You're making impossible choices and hoping they're right. That's all any of us can do. Eleanor nodded, unable to speak. In the distance, she could see the prairie stretching endlessly, beautiful and harsh and unforgiving. Somewhere out there, her husband was staking their claim to a fortune. Somewhere out there, a dangerous man was planning his next move. Somewhere out there, the future waited, uncertain, frightening, full of promise and threat in equal measure. She turned back to the soddy, to the work that never ended, to the life they'd built from nothing and were fighting to keep. One day at a time, one choice at a time, one breath at a time. That was all anyone could do. James Mackenzie and Edmund Whitmore rode into Medicine Hat as the sun climbed toward noon. The town had grown since James first saw it 3 years ago. More buildings, more people, more noise and bustle. The railroad had brought prosperity to some, desperation to others. They dismounted outside the land titles office, a sturdy brick building that represented the thin edge of civilization pushed into the wilderness. James felt the weight of the documents in his coat pocket, the mining claim, the survey notes, the money that represented everything they'd scraped together. Let me do the talking, Whitmore said quietly. These clerks can be difficult if they sense uncertainty. Inside, the office smelled of paper and ink and coal smoke. A clerk sat behind a tall desk, his spectacles perched on a thin nose, his expression suggesting profound boredom. We're here to file a mining claim, Whitmore said, placing the documents on the desk. The clerk's expression sharpened immediately. He pulled the papers toward him, reading with obvious interest. The Mackenzie claim, Section 14, Township 12. I've heard about this. Have you? Whitmore's voice was carefully neutral. Word travels. The clerk looked up. There are questions about whether this claim should be honored, whether the mineral rights might belong to... The mineral rights belong to whoever holds a valid mining claim, properly filed and surveyed. Whitmore's voice was sharp now. Which is exactly what we're doing. Is there a legal impediment to filing? The The clerk hesitated, then shook his head. No impediment, but I'm required to inform you that several parties have expressed interest in this property. You may face challenges. We're aware. Whitmore placed the money on the desk. File the claim today. The process took 2 hours. Forms to fill, fees to pay, signatures to witness. James felt each minute like a weight, wondering what was happening at the homestead, whether Eleanor and Thomas were safe, whether Robert Caine had made his move. Finally, the clerk stamped the final document with a heavy thud. Your claim is filed. The survey will be completed within 30 days. Until then, you have legal right to work the mine and defend it from encroachment. Outside, James took a deep breath of cold air. That's done, then. That's started, Whitmore corrected. Now we go to the bank. The Medicine Hat Bank and Trust was 2 streets over, a building that tried to project solidity and permanence in a town that still felt temporary. Inside, the manager, a portly man named Cornelius Webb, greeted them with obvious wariness. Mr. Mackenzie, I heard you might be coming. I'm here to make a payment on my loan. James placed the money on the desk. $80, applied to principal and interest. Webb counted the money slowly, then made a notation in his ledger. This leaves a balance of $200 due in full in 23 days. About that, Whitmore interjected. My client has discovered that the late Mr. Blackwood placed a fraudulent lien against this property. We're challenging that lien in court and requesting that the bank suspend foreclosure proceedings until the matter is resolved. Webb's expression hardened. Mr. Blackwood was a valued customer of this bank. His financial affairs were always in order. His financial affairs included murder, fraud, and extortion, Whitmore said flatly. The Northwest Mounted Police have his confession. The lien he placed was based on a false claim of debt. If this bank attempts to foreclose while that lien is being contested, I will personally ensure that every newspaper from here to Ottawa knows about it. Silence stretched between them. Webb's face had gone pale, then red. I'll need to consult with the bank's directors. You do that. Whitmore stood. In the meantime, my client has made his payment in good faith. Any attempt to seize his property will be met with legal action. Good day, Mr. Webb. Outside, James felt shaky with released tension. Do you think he'll back down? He'll consult with lawyers who will tell him that foreclosing on a property with an active legal dispute is risky. Whitmore untied his horse. But we've only bought time, James, not victory. The bank wants its money. If we can't pay in full, they'll find a way to take the homestead, mine or no mine. How long do we have? Realistically, 3 months, maybe 4 if I can drag things out in court. But eventually, you'll need to either pay the debt in full or extract enough silver to prove the mine's value and secure a loan against it. James mounted his horse, his mind racing with calculations. How much silver would we need to extract to prove value? Enough to assay at $1,000 or more. Then we could approach a Calgary bank, one with no connection to Blackwood, and secure a proper mining loan. Whitmore swung into his saddle. But extracting silver means hiring miners, buying equipment, building a processing facility. None of that is cheap or quick. So we're trapped. We own a fortune we can't touch, while debts we can't pay crush us. Welcome to the mining business. Whitmore's smile was wry. But James, you're not alone. You have neighbors willing to invest labor. You have a lawyer working for percentage instead of fees. And you have time, if we're careful. The secret is to move forward steadily without panic, building the operation properly. They rode out of Medicine Hat as the sun began its descent, heading back toward the homestead. James thought of Eleanor, of Sarah's injuries, of Thomas's innocence, of the mine that was both salvation and curse. Mr. Whitmore, he said as they rode, you asked me yesterday if there was anything in my past that could be used against me, anything that might surface. And? James was quiet for a long moment. There's nothing criminal, but I failed in Ontario, failed as a farmer, failed as a provider. I borrowed money from Eleanor's father to come west, money I've never paid back. Her family, they didn't approve of the marriage, thought she was marrying beneath her station. Coming here was supposed to prove them wrong. Has it? I don't know. James's voice was barely audible. We've survived. But at what cost? My daughter nearly died. My son has nightmares. My wife has learned to shoot men. This isn't the life I promised Eleanor. It's the life you're living, Whitmore said quietly. And from what I've seen, you're living it with courage. That counts for something. They rode in silence as the prairie darkened around them, two men carrying the weight of futures uncertain and hopes fragile as frost.